know. So I've gotten a lot of questions, and I'm here to answer them. So you want to know how I built this gate in that table? I'm going to show you how I did it. And I'm going to do it by talking about it and pointing. You can go back to the time-lapse video, slow it down to 0.25, and you can see in a little more detail how it's done. But I'm going to explain to you the parts that I used and why I did it. So first, let me give you a tour of what's here, and then we'll get into the build. My name's Skip. Welcome to Hammer Wrench Renovation. So for those that are new to this build, I'll leave a link to the original. But this here's the gate. You can see the frame here, and then there's an outer frame there. And see, and this part moves. See, when you do the latch, it'll actually open, and Millie will try to run away. Now let's move over here to the table. You can see the table's frame, and there are hinges here, and there are several 2x4s down here. And I also use brackets to hold it tight. And when you open these latches here, it pulls down. Of course, the neighbor's trash cans are right there. So the first part that I want to talk about the first thing I put in was these 2x4s here. Now this is an 8-foot section between posts, and this door is 5 pickets wide. And so what I did was I determined how wide I wanted it to be, and that's where I decided on where to put these 2x4s. And so the first ones I put in were here and here, and that's going to make the door frame that's attached to the pickets. And then I put a 2x4 across the top, and I put these brackets in to hold it, so I wouldn't have to deal with any sagging. Now the next thing I did, and it's hard to see right here, but I added an additional 2x4 that actually went past the post. So I believe it was a 10-foot. And I put it in because I needed something for the bottom pickets that are on the door to support. And I also needed, since I plan on cutting this brace and this brace apart, I needed something to have rigidity for the actual gate panel, the fence panel, when the gate was moving. That way there wasn't any sag. So after I added the brackets in, I installed the hinges. Now the hinges are on the back side, and there are 3, and that's because the gate opens outwards. And then I installed the latch, which is here. So when I started the gate, there's a 2x4 that was not here that runs from post to post. and these posts are 8 feet apart. So this 2x4 is just more than that because I needed those 2x4s to screw into the 4x4 post. They're going to give support to the fence because we're going to be cutting this support and this support. So I put that in first, screwed it into the 4x4 on both sides. The second is this 2x4 frame for the fence. I added this 2x4 and this one, and then the top. So I'm making it look like a door. And I took and put a 2x4 between the center brace and the bottom original brace and attached those with brackets. So now I have the rectangle frame for the whole door. But I needed something solid for it to close against and to hold the hinges. So I add this 2x4 here, and that connects the center support coming off of the post, the bottom support coming off of the post, and it goes into the top support. This top support does not get cut. So if you're tall, you have to duck your head when you go under. The next thing is these 2x4s here that actually make a solid end, and this encases the door. And then we put a latch on, and on this support here you actually have to take the screws out of it, and you have to screw the pickets into this piece that you've added. Screw should already be in here and should already be in here. This base 2x4 that I ran needs screws put in the pickets at the bottom, starting at this gap here. So once you have the screws in place and the screws you need to remove, you take your saw and you cut here and you cut here. And once you do that, you have a gate that has a top that makes contact and a bottom that makes contact. So you can see it's not rickety. It's solid. So if you want to make a door that kind of blends in, that you can't really see, we don't have a way to open it outside. We actually have to reach over, and we used to have a piece of string here that we could pull from that side. But it kind of blends in. The only thing is there's the 3 hinges that you can see to let you know that there is something a little bit different about that portion. Now let's move over to the table. Now the table is a little bit easier, so don't be intimidated. And the way I started this was, once again, these posts are 8 feet apart, and I had to decide, how wide do I want the table? Now, if I had to guess, this table is maybe 6 feet wide. There are 2 pickets over there, there's 2 pickets over here. Pickets are about 5.5 inches across. So that makes this about 6 foot. So where do you start? I put in, let's see, this 2x4 here, and I left a gap between the original support and the new 2x4 I put up. And then I installed this 2x4 here, and it goes between the center support and the top support. Right after that, You see this is the original bottom support, and now there are two more here. Let me explain why. The pickets are screwed into this bottom support, but I added this one that is longer than 8 foot because when this table comes up to rest, the pickets need something to bump into. So I added this one here, and then I added this one right above it. I'm sorry, Millie doesn't know personal space. Go over there. So this picket here needs a gap between it. You see it's about a finger width. That's going to be important later. So once this is up, I added 2 more pieces of 2x4 here and there. And then they got brackets added to them so it would not sag. Now after the brackets were added, I installed the hinges. I needed the hinges to go on the original center brace because it will stay where it is and function like it is. And I needed the brackets to go onto this new 2x4 that will actually move with the table. So once those are on, the next is the latches here. You see, these latches are what's going to hold it up and keep it from swinging. So once the latches were put on, we had to take the screws out of the picket here. The picket screws out of the pickets that attach to the center support because those pickets are going to move. So anything attached here has to come off. Once that was done, it was time for the Sawzall, and I cut through here, and I cut through here, and in doing so, before that, I forgot this part. Remember where I said very important to leave a gap here? You'll also take your Sawzall and you will cut right in between these. And you will separate these pickets from the bottom of them. Because when you move this, the pickets stay in place, but the gate moves. And that is what you get. Now, while it's down, I added chain. I actually took these end pickets off on both sides of the table, and I added flat plate that had screws in it. And they are right where they attached this part to this part because I didn't want to add 2x4. I wanted the gate table, the privacy fence table to disappear. So that plate will help the strength. And you can probably see it's silver right here. So you have to take those 2 end pickets off to get access to that. But once you do that, you have your disappearing gate table. Okay, so now that you've had the explanation, let's look at the function. Millie's put away, so she won't be running off. So it gives about 3 feet, maybe 3.5 feet on this side. The other side, maybe about 1 foot to 15 inches. And you can see at the bottom, there's also a gap there. So, your dogs like to play. they can hop right over. Or I'm sure if you have little kids, they will love to climb over and back. So let's open the gate. So you can see there's a hinge there, and there, and there. You can see how the only thing that shows on the back are the hinges. And then there's a handle there. The only thing that shows in the back of the table is not really anything. So that's what it looks like when it's up. All you see is a line right there where it's cut. So that is it. It's not hard to do. Looks more complicated than it really is. It's just some 2x4s, some lag bolts, screws, hinges, latches. You can just look at everything I've done in the video and just go purchase those. I want to say this video is for Lily Trang, Christopher Hu, and Rosa Martinez. All of you have asked how I built it. Could I do a tutorial? And so I figured I would do this, and before we moved, which is coming later this month. So I hope you guys, if you haven't already tried to build, you will build. And anyone else that has any comments, feel free to drop them down. I'll answer what I can, help you as much as I can, and just get out there. Make you something different. Make you something that it can enjoy your time. And if you enjoy spending time with your neighbor, you've got a table you never have to put away. It's always just right there. So this is Skip with Hammer Wrench Renovation. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you again next time.